Hi, I'm Ricky. I am one half of the Tender Trainers. So at the Tender Trainers, we train subcontractors on how to tender effectively. So basically our goal is to make this process as simple and successful as possible so you can win those bigger contracts with less stress. I try and do this on a regular basis. So yeah, feel free to DM me, jump on, drop a question in or DM me anything you feel like would be good for me to cover. Okay, so this week's topic for discussion is around whether or not the client has won the work when they're asking you to tender. So basically, in this case, there's two scenarios, right? One, the client has already won the job and they are tendering the packages to award the actual works. The second scenario is that the client is actually tendering the job themselves. So they're tendering to win the work themselves. They haven't won it yet. And in this case, they are asking for your price and your tender to form part of their tender and their price. So when the clients, when they haven't won the work and you're forming part of their estimate, there's a couple things you kind of need to be aware of, right? So firstly, if this is the case and they don't actually secure the works, you won't, no matter how good your tender actually was. If they don't secure the works, you're not in the running for it. My second point here is there could be quite a long time until your package would actually mobilize. So if the main contractor is actually tendering their works, and particularly if your package is later on in the game, when they actually win the works, there might be a few months before works actually start on the project. So it could be a year or more before your package actually starts the works, even though they're asking for your price at that point. Thirdly, the works will usually be re-tendered when it comes time to award the package. So you will probably have to re-tender the work. However, because you've done a lot of the legwork already in the estimate stage, this re-tendering should be a lot easier for you. It'd just basically be a recheck on the price and maybe a little bit of a look on further information. So yeah, it's important that you know these things, right? If this is the case. So a couple of points here on how you can actually tell if the client have won the work or not. A few things that will give it away. I'm pretty good at myself at getting the tender pack, looking at it and going, okay, they haven't won this work yet. How do I know? There's a few signs. So if you're receiving drawings at concept stage, so if you've got a build only package and you're receiving drawings at concept stage, i.e. the design's not finished yet, there's still more steps to go in completing the design, this is usually an indication, because the client, as the main contractor, if they have a design and build contract, they will be finalizing the design. So that's what they'll be pricing off. Whereas if you're a constructor only contract, you'll be pricing off finished drawings usually. So that's one giveaway. Another giveaway is that the start and finish dates that you get for this project are for the whole project and not your package. So if they're giving you dates for start and finish of the whole project and no indication of where your package sits in that project in terms of start and finish, that's another giveaway, right? Another one is when you get the full pack of drawings and the tender pack, and it's clearly the tender pack for the main contractor. So yeah, when they are tendering the job, they will be sending their tender pack, which is the main contractor pack, to you to have a look at. So if you're getting the tender pack that isn't specific to your package and there's not a scope of works to your package, etc., it's like the tender pack is for the main contractor. That's another indication. And Another really easy one that is right most of the time, another giveaway, is who you're talking to. So in a lot of cases, and I'll say not all cases, but in most cases, if they have the title estimator, so if you're talking to a person that has the title estimator, they are usually still estimating the job. So they're usually still pricing the job. But if their title is QS, quantity surveyor, it's more than likely that they have won the job. So yeah, if you're speaking to an estimator, I would say it's more than likely they haven't won the work. Ultimately, with these things, no matter what, it's important that you know. So if you're not 100% sure, you should ask the question. Just throw it in there. Have you guys secured this work or not? And let them tell you if you're not sure. So as with anything, there's obvious positives and negatives to going for work that isn't secured yet, right? So run through a couple of them here. The negatives, pretty obvious, right? If they don't win the work, we mentioned it before, then you may have wasted your time and money on a project that isn't live. Yeah, but in this case, if you've done a good tender and you've priced the job, you understand the job, and the main contractor that you've gone in with, they don't actually win it, there is an opportunity for you to go out and find or talk to the main contractor that does win the job and tell them, you know, we've looked at this job, we want a tender for it. You can turn that into a little bit of a positive. Ultimately, if they are still bidding for the work, you are less likely to be awarded for your time. So ultimately your win rate, your win potential is kind of diminishing a little bit by jumping in at that phase. So yeah, they're the negatives. There are also positives. So the positives are less people will probably be engaging with them at this point in the project. So you may have an advantage if they do go ahead and they win the work. You're in at the early phase and you've helped them in their estimate. They've probably used your price in their estimate. Yeah, you've helped them. You might have a little leg up there. Also, it's a way to start building a relationship with your prospective clients, right? Getting in at this stage, talking to them, knowing that they haven't won the work yet, but you're still going to help them out. They will be thankful for you helping them out. So it is good to get in at this phase and be building that relationship with them and building a positive relationship with them that potentially you'll get asked more and more for other tenders that they have. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's up to you to make the decision on whether you bid or not for work that hasn't been won yet. I have clients that just put their foot down and do not tender for work unless it is already secured. So they just choose not to even look at the job if they're estimating. And I also have clients who do it as a useful exercise and a relationship building exercise with clients. Particularly when they have a good relationship with that client and they do work for them, they're willing to like help them out and yeah, build on the relationship. But in summary, you should be aware if the client has won the work or not when you're tendering. This is something you should know. Ultimately, if you don't know, you should be asking. And you should kind of have your own little strategy around this, whether you would or you would not bid for it. So yeah, cool. Yeah, that's it for today. Yeah, stay tuned. I try and do these on quite a regular basis, so I'll cover another impactful tendering topic. If you found this useful, check out our YouTube channel at the Tender Trainers. We have a bunch more free content on there. And also we have coming up in a couple of weeks, our Tender Talk session, which is our free training session. If you are interested in that, send me a DM. I'll make sure you get the opportunity to come. Thank you and see you again soon.